How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new horror manga put out by Viz Originals. This is Betwixt. It's a nice hardcover manga, and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It's one that I saw I think I saw on Amazon that it was coming out, and it looked really interesting. Junji Ito made this really fun, eye-catching cover. He didn't do any of the stories, but he does the cover and he does the foreword, and all the stories in here are done by different creative teams. We have 3 manga from Japan going one way and 3 manga from America going the other way, and they kind of meet in the middle of this book, so the book doesn't have a set front or back, and that kind of deals with the notion of in between, crossing over, and why the stories are all different. It's a good variety of stuff. They all have that theme of between, duologies, 2 worlds coming together, and you do get things like doppelgangers and mirrors. You get a spirit that's a combination of 2 things showing up in one of the stories. And the idea of duology is in all the stories, but it's told in very different ways, and in some cases looser, in some cases more on the nose. And I think that all these stories really do have their moments in their own unique things. I mean, obviously, with anthology, some are going to be better than others, and some of the artwork is very different than others of the artwork, but I found that reading through these, a lot of times they would surprise me. They would do something really creative or take the story in a direction I didn't expect, and I don't think there really is a bad story in the bunch, but there are definitely a few that really hit it out of the park that I really do like. So I can definitely recommend this, but if you want to see my thoughts on individual stories, as well as showing you some of the art, let's switch to the close-up camera for a deeper analysis. So without further ado, let's go to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Betwixt. And right off the bat, we get a very good cover by Junji Ito. Both creepy and also very cool and meticulous. You get this really thin alleyway, kind of reminiscent of one of his stories, but that's not exactly what happens in that. We get Betwixt and a horror manga anthology. The side is the smears of the letters from the front and the back, but you get Betwixt, and in Betwixt, all the letters, you get the names of the people who wrote the stories, and then Viz Originals here. On the back, we get the other character in the alley, and pay attention, her with her 2 arms up here, this lady here, this guy. Flip it to the back, they're repeated. There's the lady on the front cover, there's the guy down there, and she's the lady that I pointed out earlier. So it's 2 different perspectives, and everything is aligned, but in one case our camera is over here, in the other case our camera is right there. Yeah, when you figure out where your perspective is, you see this mysterious blue figure. So is that us? Is that other us? What exactly is going on here? It's both creepy and, like, look at her face, that's creepy, but it's also creepy and just trying to figure out what's going on. But anyway, this book reads 2 ways. If we crack it open, we get these nice lime green papers, and we also get the title page, which is correspondent to the side. So if we flip to the other side, lime green papers, title page with reverse cover image, and both sides will actually feature the foreword by Junji Ito. And I really do like this foreword where he talks about the title Betwixt and its meaning, and he talks about various forms of the word in between, and he talks about, you know, like, say, pauses and how people don't like that, and he's like, What about English-speaking people? I don't notice as many pauses, and it's really interesting to hear him analyze things and wanting to have an open dialogue about culture and stuff. But then he does talk about the book and how the stories are themes of duologies and how this book isn't meant to have a front and back, and because Americans, when they write stuff, it's from the other direction. They put the Japanese manga that's read the Japanese way on this side, and they put the manga that was published in the US on this side, so half the book reads the Japanese way, half of it reads the American way, and they meet in the middle. Now, in the middle, I wish there was a scary image or something, but the middle, you simply get this page that's the title, and it says flip it over. I wish there was some scary image in the middle. But anyway, they do have on the back this sticker, and that way you can peel it off and see the blue man better. And also that, you know, like they had to have a barcode on this, but again, it's not supposed to have a front or back. So how do you do that? You put a sticker barcode on it, and then you can peel it off. Now, I've kind of been debating whether to peel the sticker off or not, and I think I will, for two reasons. One is you're supposed to, and that validates the theme of the book. You know, if you peel the sticker off, then it truly does have no front or back. But also, I don't know if the sticker's 100% acid-free, and I'd be worried that it would cause some yellowing over time. So I left it on for the review, but I think I'm going to peel it off. Anyway, the one dead giveaway that the Japanese side is the front of the book, though, is that's where the table of contents is. So you get Kamei, film Ephemera, and the window on the Japanese side, and then actually listed down to up is Never Left, Mir Mir, and Shadow, and then the turnabout is in the middle. Yeah, this is only listed on one side, and if you were to go to the corresponding page on the other side of the manga, you would actually get the credits page. So yeah, there's the credits page. Foreword and cover by Junji Ito. Stories by other artists. First published in 2023. So this one we actually didn't get a huge wait on. It pretty much came out immediately in both locations. First printing October 23. Parental advisory T+. Anyway, after that, let's get into the stories. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the story, a little bit of the art. I'll be avoiding major spoilers, but I do want you guys to have a general idea what's in here, but I'll try to avoid going too far. We start off with Kamen by Ryo Hanada. Sorry if I mispronounce any of these names in here, but a good creepy drawing of her poking her head out of the water. And you get this guy, he goes swimming, and this girl pokes her head out of the water, and she goes, "You're not supposed to be here. Didn't you see the no swimming sign?" But it turns out it's old and fell down. Well, it turns out there's something strange going on with this girl, a sort of duology within her spirit, and she's a mysterious creature, but she does have a bit of a backstory. How did this ghost get here? What's going on? And, well, we have a time limit to figure out this story, because it turns out he wasn't supposed to swim here because it was too shallow, and his spirit is talking to this other spirit while he lies dying on the bottom of the pool because he hit his head on a rock. Yeah, and that gives him this interesting X on his eye. Overall, though, it does go a little bit slow. It's a case of I get the point, and it's, you know, kind of taking its time in places, and it does get a little weird, but overall I do like the story, you know, figuring out what happened to this ghost and, you know, how can we make peace with it. I think it's pretty fun, but it's not the strongest story in the book. Moving on, this one I actually think is a very good, well, I like this story. Film Ephemera by Aki Shimizu, and we get this guy, and he's got his manga equipment there, and a bunch of film posters, and we flip open the story, and we find out he's an assistant to a manga artist, and we see this guy floating in, and of course, that's a ghost. Turns out our lead can see ghosts, and he has a few rules. Ignore them, don't tell others, and try to stay away. So he's just keeping his head down in the ghost world. Well, one day he goes and sees a movie, and it kind of seems like Being John Malkovich, you know, but a legally distinct version of that, where these characters find a hole and go inside of an actor's head, and he finds a bunch of their posters, and he decides to take the posters home with him, and he figures, why not use them as wallpaper in my closet, just because I think they're cool and creepy, and hey, it's something interesting to do. Well, for whatever reason, he's in bed, and the closet door is going to open, and out will step this very freaky ghost that's all rotted and bloated and has no arms. That's a cool ghost. And I do like this bit of a unexplained nature. We never find out why he has powers to see ghosts. We don't really know what this ghost wants or why it's tied to the movie posters. Yeah, but yeah, he's been ignoring these ghosts the whole time. And good luck ignoring that one. Overall, it's pretty fun. You know, some stuff is cut out because it's a short story, or at least, you know, you kind of feel like there's something more going on here. But I think that does work to help it play with horror ambiguity, and I really do like that art. The next one, The Window by Shinya, and this one, it does have kind of simplistic art, but I really did like the story and what they were trying to talk about. We get this guy, him and his sister's helping him move out of an apartment, and she goes, "It's hot in here, let's open a window." No, you can't open that window. It looks down on the property. And he explains that the realtor told him to never open that window because you're not supposed to look at that house across the street because something terrible happened there, and there's a ghost of a woman that every time you see her in the yard, she's gonna get closer and closer to you. And there's these bits where he's talking, you know, it flashes back to him talking to his co-workers, and they all have slightly different views on what the monster is and the different backstories. It's a woman, and, you know, she had a mental breakdown or something, and the sister's going to react to that story and, you know, kind of go, oh, well, this is how people rationalize things back in the day. Now, of course, someone's going to eventually peek out the window, but I do love when him and the sister talk about the nature of ghost stories and why people tell ghost stories, and even talking about why ghost stories don't necessarily behave consistently and why the ghost stories kind of shift over time. And there's a really interesting twist as to why the creature gets closer at the end. And even though this art is pretty simple, it's not bad, it's just kind of on the simple side, the story and how it breaks things down and how it thinks and it talks about a fun subject matter, I think it's a really strong story. Anyway, after that, we jump into the American side. We see someone walking in the snow, and I think it's gonna, yeah, it gives us a cold opening before we get the title of this one. There we go. Never Left by Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan, with art by Becky Cloonan. And we see that there's these two friends. This is the main character, and then the friend kind of wandered into town after having been gone for like 13 years. So they go to the ice fishing hut where they were going to go anyway, and they start to talk, oh, we've missed you, what's going on, why have you been gone? And he explains that he had this strange experience where he was walking along the frozen lake and saw something strange and mysterious underneath that really scared him. Well, eventually, they're gonna fish, the line's gonna get snagged on something, and when they pull it up, well, it turns out it's another version of your friend. frozen dead beneath the lake. That's a creepy visual right there. And then, of course, you have to question and go back and try to say what really happened, and would you even be able to know? It's a fun story, and I do like the darker, tone of the story as well. After that, we get Mir Mir by Slone Leong and art by Leslie Hung. And you get this kind of mild-mannered woman living with her grandmother, trying to pack up her stuff before the grandmother goes to a retirement community. They go and they dig around in the attic where the granddaughter is going to find this big giant mirror. And she explains, oh, I got that as a wedding present. I don't really talk to that friend anymore. Why don't you take the mirror? So yeah, it's going to be a haunted mirror story. And of course, she's going to, in the middle of the night, have a strange, mysterious vision of going into that mirror. But we get a bit of her being timid. There's the boy next door that she's going to not know how to talk to him or anything, and you can tell she likes him because he has sparkles around his head, which is a little silly. But then you'll also get where she's a photographer, and she's late to her photography gig, and she doesn't take the best photos that day, so she's just not quite confident enough. And that's, of course, where she goes home, puts her hand to the mirror, and it sinks into the mirror like water, and she winds up in the mirror world. But who's that on the outside? It's a fun mirror story, and I've seen a few kind of like this before. Your doppelganger taking over your life. What do you do? And oh my gosh, my doppelganger's better than me. This one does have a really fun twist at the end that at first I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then you kind of think about it for a while, and you have to think, wait, what does that mean? And it is an interesting way of going about these things. After that, we get Shadow by Huahua Zhu. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. But this is one I really do like the art in as well. You open it up, and you get this fun, girl in an umbrella seeing something in a box, and then the teacher writing something out and staring at you with these creepy cartoon eyes. Well, that 29 is a countdown to the exam, and they get after this girl because she's constantly late and not focused on school. And today she's late because she found this sweet kitten in a box, and she's going to go home and hide it in her attic while everyone else at school is judging her for being late, and the teacher's like, you have to take this stuff more seriously. So I do really like, it is kind of a relatable thing, when you're not really focused and not really paying attention on something other people tell you you're supposed to care about, but you really do have these other things that you really love and care about and mean something to you, like this cute little kitty cat right here. But of course, we know this is a horror story. Things are going to go wrong. She's going to have strange and mysterious dreams where a black shadow and a big eye start invading her room. And then even though she's taking care of the sweet little kitty cat, maybe, cats, they're not always going to be the nicest to you. So yeah, and I do also like, kind of this nature of, trying to hide something special. And I do like the art. It uses a ton of tone, and I love the way the cat's drawn all scratchy. It does end a little bit fast, but it does end on a fun visual, and I did think it was pretty cool. So overall, yeah, a lot of variety in the stories, despite the fact that they're all about duology in different ways, and they're telling different stories, and all the artwork's different. Overall, I really do like a lot of the things and ideas in here. Some of them are better than others, but each one has its own thing going about it. And overall, I like this. I like this book. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. this should be my manga playlist. I've talked about a ton of Junji Ito. I've also talked about Orochi and Chainsaw Man. So if you want to see me talk about more manga, you can find it in this playlist down here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.